Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we need to talk about the El Clasico, another memorable one indeed, and I dare say we will be talking about that man at some point in the video. But before that, I want to break down the tactics from a Barcelona point of view, because I actually think for large periods they were the better side in this game. So we will start off with that, and then of course come on to Ancelotti, his changes to the game, which won Real Madrid this football match. So let's just get straight over to the tactical board and go from here. Now initially we've got Barcelona in a 4-2-3-1 shape. Although this was a very fluid structure, you could also view it as a back 5 at times or a back 3 with Cancelo and Balde as wing backs. I saw it more as this sort of shape, but it was certainly a blend between the two anyway. So in terms of playing the ball out from the back, we know that's what Barcelona want to do, and they've done so very successfully for large periods. And the main reason they were so successful is because they had numerical overloads. So when they're playing the ball out from the back, they're going straight to a back 3, with Balde pushing further forward, Christensen kind of moving into a central, almost holding midfielder role, and then we've got the two centre-backs splitting like this either side of him, with ter Stegen on the ball. The problem that Real Madrid have here is that they only have two players really applying pressure, Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo. Now yes, Bellingham could occasionally join, but that didn't seem to be the game plan from Madrid, so this made it really easy for Barcelona. So let's say the ball would go to Christensen, Vinicius Jr. might follow, and Rodrigo might now start trying to cut off passing angles this way, but it makes it quite easy to go to Araujo here, or at times Martinez this side. It made it really easy for Barcelona to play out from the back. Now once Barcelona have done this, they're now going to step forward with one of these wide players, and to be fair, here initially, Real Madrid then do a good job of containing, because Rodrigo's going to come this side, and Madrid are going to press with enough intensity that Barcelona can't get the ball out to the spare man on the other side. So Barcelona are now forced one way. So initially Real Madrid have done a pretty good job there. The first press has been broken, but have kind of recovered to try and contain this Barcelona side. However, the problem that they had from here was that Barcelona had done a really good job of continuing to create overloads in different areas of the pitch. And in general, I don't think that Carlo Ancelotti had a great game from a tactical point of view. So, what is it that Barcelona were doing to cause these problems? Well, they were moving to more of a box midfield shape, with João Felix moving from the left wing into a much more central position, allowing Fermin Lopez to move to the right hand side. Cancelo is going to push forward down the right hand side to be almost as a winger, and Balde is going to do the same down the left. Now, Real Madrid's response to this was, well, obviously it was needed initially because Barcelona have got 4 midfielders in this area, but also Ferran Torres dropping deep, which actually created a 5 versus 4 for Barcelona in their advantage. Now you could argue that perhaps one of the Real Madrid centre-backs should be super aggressive and go stop this overload, but the problem was Barcelona was so fluid that it was quite difficult for the centre-backs to pick up who they should be following into these areas. So Barcelona definitely had the overload in this position. Now the counter to this for Real Madrid was for Carvajal to start following João Felix into central positions, like so, and Valverde is now going to drop into a right wing back position up against Balde, creating this back 5 shape. Jude Bellingham's now going to drop a little bit deeper as well, Vinicius Jr. is going to drop deeper, as is Rodrigo. However, regardless of that, we can still see that Barcelona have this box shape here, and again with the repeated fluidity of the front 3, it was really difficult for Real Madrid to get close to Barcelona. At times it could be Fermin Lopez up top with Ferran Torres dropping deeper. João Felix could roam into these positions. The rotations were brilliant and it made it really difficult for Real Madrid to get close to them. Barcelona also just carried their usual attacking threat as they do. They're very good players. They link well in the final third. They cause problems. They pull you about into different areas. We saw that for the goal, where the Real Madrid centre-backs were just far too slow to react, and Gundogan snuck all the way forward. That's also a key thing to point out here. Barcelona were playing without a natural pivot. Both Gavi and Gundogan want to play further forward. So I actually think as a double pivot they've done pretty well, considering they don't really want to be playing there. I thought in possession they'd done a pretty good job, and in general, Barcelona were pretty good in possession. The problem that they had was that they just lacked a killer instinct in the final third. A proper striker, for example, and perhaps just a pure quality in the final third. I don't mean to be disrespectful here, but when we talk about Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Jude Bellingham for Real Madrid, that's a lethal front 3. In my opinion, a João Felix, Ferran Torres, Fermin Lopez attack doesn't bring the same danger and the same threat to a defence. And I felt that overall, whilst Barcelona were the better side and able to control possession and move the ball forward into the final third quite effectively, I just felt that once they were in these areas, Real Madrid for large parts, felt pretty comfortable. There was the odd scare, of course, there's always going to be, because Barcelona are a quality side. They carve you apart in quick moments. João Felix is going to turn you and hurt you. But I just felt that Real Madrid just about had it under control in defensive positions. Regardless of that, Barcelona were 1-0 up and looking the better side for a good hour or so. However, then we started to see some changes in terms of substitutes. And I felt that Real Madrid made an aggressive change. They went on the front foot and tried to attack Barcelona. And perhaps more importantly, Xavi makes a defensive change, which for me was the wrong decision to make. I completely understand why you turn to a more defensive approach at 1-0 up. But the way that Barcelona were playing, they had Real Madrid contained. Barcelona were the better team by a mile. They were dominating possession. They were pulling Real Madrid about. But importantly, they were in control of the game because they were being front-footed, proactive and aggressive. But they make the change of Fermin Lopez off for Romeu. Now that's obviously in nature a defensive change. Romeu is a much more defensive player than Fermin Lopez. But we also saw changes from Real Madrid. Ferland Mendy is going to come off for Camavinga. Toni Kroos is going to come off for Luka Modric. And Rodrigo is going to come off for Joselu. Now what this does is it gives Real Madrid much more attacking intent. Now we could have spoke about the first hour, what Real Madrid were doing in possession. But to be honest, it was quite limited really. We will quickly cover it actually. I think it's important that we cover it. Give me 1 second. Let's get these guys back on the pitch. Let's just quickly go over this. So what are Real Madrid doing in possession for the first hour or so? Well, they're trying to build with a back four, of course. Carvajal's going back to his usual right back position like this. Valverde is going to push further forward. Jude Bellingham's going to move into this position. And Real Madrid are essentially building possession in a shape which looks like a 2-2-4-2 shape. Not the most conventional formation you're ever going to see. But that's how Real Madrid chose to approach this game. Now, initially, the problem that Real Madrid have is that Ferran Torres and João Felix can go man for man with the two centre-backs and make life quite difficult for them. Of course, going man for man is much more pressure on the ball, it's a greater intensity, it's harder to play out from the back, particularly if you lose your composure when you're 1-0 down. Toni Kroos, however, started to help out, dropping into a slightly wider left position, with Tchouaméni now coming into this central area. Let's just quickly swap these like so. But Real Madrid started to eventually get the ball down, start playing proper football, and create overloads in this area, and more importantly, take advantage of the overloads in this area. Because now they do have a 4 versus 3 here. And when you've got technical players like Real Madrid do, the likes of Tchouaméni, of course, Toni Kroos, it allows you to play the ball from the back and move forward. However, from here for 60 minutes, Real Madrid looked really, really limited. Mendy was offering little going forward down this side. Vinicius Jr. would often pull wide with Mendy going inside, but I just felt that Mendy was ineffective in these positions. But also Vinicius Jr. really struggled in this game because Araujo done an excellent job of being incredibly physical with him. Now I would argue Vinicius Jr. was a little bit unfortunate with some of the decisions he didn't get. I felt he was fouled a few times in this game. But to give credit to Araujo, he was strong, he was aggressive, he was tough on his man and got the reward for it. He played really well. Real Madrid also struggled to get their other key man into the game, and that was Jude Bellingham. And the reason they struggled to get Jude Bellingham into the game was because they struggled in deeper possession phases, so they weren't dominating the ball, they weren't creating chances. But also because Gavi done a brilliant job of tracking Jude Bellingham. The battle between these two was brilliant. Now again, the approach largely from Gavi was to foul Bellingham when he got close to him, and I think he was lucky to avoid booking. But the battle between the two of them was a really good watch. To see two young players kind of fighting each other like that, it was good entertainment really, it was a good game. But this is kind of Real Madrid's problem for the first hour or so. We can see they've got plenty of players in these defensive areas. We've seen already that Barcelona were dominating possession, creating chances. But then we start to see some changes. Camavinga comes onto the pitch. Now instantly, whether he's underlapping or overlapping, we know that he's a more attacking threat than what Ferland Mendy is. We're also going to see Luka Modric for Toni Kroos. Now this is a really attacking change. Because the way that Toni Kroos plays is he drops deep, controls the ball, sprays passes about. The way that Modric plays is he gets forward into really dangerous positions. And then Joselu up top for Rodrigo. Of course, again, that is just a little bit of a different threat. But we can see now Real Madrid has taken a risk. They've got less players playing the ball out from the back, but they've got more players further up the pitch. Like this. And Barcelona, like I've said already, are going to make a more negative change, bring Romeu on. Now, I wouldn't say that at this point we saw a massive tactical change. It didn't really feel that, suddenly we're seeing new shapes and pulling players about in different ways. I didn't really felt that we saw that. However, what we did see was Real Madrid just having more players further up the pitch. And truthfully, true quality players. Barcelona are sitting off deeper. Game state is now in play. The game state is that Barcelona are 1-0 up and trying to protect the lead. Whereas the previous game state, they were attacking good creative football. They're now sitting off trying to protect the lead. And you can't do that, in my opinion, against a side which has a Vinicius Jr. who can create something from nothing. Against a Luka Modric, who I thought was absolutely brilliant when he came on. Now the oldest ever player to play in the El Clasico. I thought he really changed the game. But also, when you have a certain game breaker who goes by the name of Jude Bellingham. And I use the term game breaker because that's what he is. He's a player who, no matter what the game state, can do something out of nothing and break a game. A game can be going in a certain tactical flow. A team can have momentum, a team can be dominant. But you put a Jude Bellingham in there who can score from nowhere, proving now that he can score from long range as well, but also he can score tap-ins. He can be that fox in the box sort of player, the box crasher. He breaks games. He breaks game state. A goal out of nothing puts this game back to 1-1, and now Barcelona are in trouble because they've kind of swapped to this more defensive approach, but suddenly now they're drawing, they need a goal, but they kind of struggled with that, and of course Real Madrid went on to win the game, and it's the Jude Bellingham show really. It's Jude Bellingham's world, we're all just living in it. I thought he was absolutely brilliant in that last 20 minutes. What I liked more than anything was the mindset he showed, the desire. His team was playing poorly, his team was outplayed for large parts of the game, but he didn't give up. He still believed that his team could produce something in this game, and we saw that. So I think Xavi got it right for about 70 minutes, or 60 minutes probably, but he just got it wrong in that last half hour, and it did cost his side. As for Ancelotti, I think he got lucky tactically. I think he was set up in quite a poor manner, but Real Madrid got the win. Real Madrid come out of this big game with all 3 points. So ultimately, Ancelotti does have the last laugh. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Who did you think was the best player on the pitch? Which players disappointed you a little bit? How good is Jude Bellingham? And why did Barcelona take their foot off the gas to try and protect their lead? And ultimately, is that what cost them? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.